The cold wind of New Terra howled across the dead landscape as Captain Alex Morrison stepped out of his survey ship. His boots crunched on the frozen ground that had not felt the warmth of life for 1,000 years. Behind him, his team of alien researchers followed, their various breathing apparatus hissing in the thin atmosphere. "Another dead human world," muttered Dr. Vex High, the insect-like archaeologist whose compound eyes glittered in the pale sunlight. "What makes this one so special?" Alex pulled out his scanner and watched the readings dance across the screen. "The energy signature we detected from orbit? It's unlike anything we've found on other human ruins." For 3 decades, Alex had led expeditions to dead human worlds. He'd walked through empty cities, explored abandoned space stations, and cataloged the remains of a civilization that had simply vanished one day. The humans had been the most powerful species in this part of the galaxy until they disappeared without a trace exactly 1,000 years ago. The Galactic Council had formed in their absence. 12 species working together to maintain peace, and order in the void humans had left behind. Alex worked for them now, studying human artifacts and technology to better understand what had happened to Earth's children. "There," Alex pointed toward a hill in the distance. "The readings are strongest over there." The team trudged through the wasteland for 2 hours before they found it. Rising from the ground like a metal mountain was a structure none of them had ever seen before. It was clearly human in design, but the technology seemed far more advanced than anything they had discovered on other dead worlds. "By the 7 moons," whispered Dr. Lisa Kane, the only human on the team. She had been born on one of the alien worlds, raised by the species that had taken in human refugees after the Great Disappearance. Her knowledge of human culture made her valuable to the archaeological teams. The structure's surface was smooth and black, reflecting their faces like a dark mirror. Strange symbols glowed softly along its walls, pulsing with a rhythm that reminded Alex of a heartbeat. "I'm reading massive power sources inside," reported Jake, the team's technical specialist. His 6 arms worked quickly over his instruments. "Whatever this place is, it's still active." Alex felt a chill that had nothing to do with the cold wind. Active human technology after 1,000 years should have been impossible. Every other human facility they had found was dead, its power sources long since exhausted. "Look for an entrance," Alex ordered. They circled the structure for an hour before Lisa called out, "Here. There's something here." Where Lisa stood, the wall had changed. The smooth surface now showed the outline of a doorway, glowing with soft blue light. As they approached, the door simply melted away, revealing a corridor that stretched into the darkness beyond. "Should we call for backup?" asked Dr. Vex High, his voice nervous. Alex considered it. Protocol demanded they report any major discoveries before proceeding, but something about this place called to him. After 30 years of exploring dead ruins, here was finally something alive. "We go in," he decided, "but we stay together." The corridor was warm, a stark contrast to the frozen world outside. Their footsteps echoed softly as they walked deeper into the structure. Emergency lighting flickered on as they passed, as if the building was welcoming them home. "The air is breathable," Lisa reported, checking her instruments. "Perfect oxygen levels. It's like this place was designed for us." They walked for what felt like miles through corridors that branched and twisted in patterns that hurt to think about. Just when Alex was beginning to worry they were lost, they emerged into a vast chamber. The room was circular, its walls covered with screens showing star maps and data streams. In the center stood a single, cylindrical chamber filled with glowing blue liquid. And floating inside that liquid was a human being. "Impossible," Lisa breathed. The figure was a man, perhaps 30 years old, with short dark hair and strong features. He wore a simple white garment and appeared to be sleeping peacefully. Tubes and wires connected him to the chamber's systems, feeding him nutrients and monitoring his vital signs. "He's alive," Jake reported, his instruments confirming what their eyes could barely believe. "Heart rate steady, brain activity normal. He's been in some kind of suspended animation." Alex stared at the sleeping figure. A living human, preserved for 1,000 years. It changed everything they thought they knew about the Great Disappearance. We need to wake him up, Lisa said. Wait, Alex held up a hand. We don't know what we're dealing with here. This could be dangerous. But even as he spoke, something was happening to the chamber. The blue liquid began to drain away, and the sleeping figure started to move. His eyes fluttered open, revealing bright green irises that seemed to glow with their own light. The man's gaze fell on each of them in turn, studying their faces with an intelligence that made Alex uncomfortable. When he spoke, his voice was clear and strong despite his 1,000-year sleep. So, the man said, sitting up in the now empty chamber, the galaxy has found us at last. The tubes disconnected themselves automatically, and the man stepped out of the chamber as if he had been waiting for this moment his entire life. He was tall and moved with a grace that seemed almost unnatural. I am Sam Wright, he said, extending his hand to Alex in an ancient human gesture. And I have been waiting for you. Alex shook the offered hand, surprised by the firm grip. Captain Alex Morrison, Galactic Survey Corps. We thought all humans were extinct. Sam smiled, and there was something in that expression that made Alex's blood run cold. It was the smile of someone who knew secrets too large for ordinary minds to comprehend. Extinct? Sam laughed. No, Captain Morrison. We simply went somewhere else for a while. Somewhere we could grow and change and become something better than what we were. Where did you go? Lisa asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Sam's green eyes fixed on her, and Alex could swear he saw starlight reflected in their depths. To the spaces between the galaxies, child. To the cold dark where only the strongest can survive. We had to leave because what we were becoming would have frightened you. And now, Alex asked, now we're ready to come home. Sam looked around the chamber, taking in the alien members of the team with curiosity rather than surprise. Tell me, has the galaxy been peaceful in our absence? Yes, Alex replied. The Galactic Council maintains order. Its 12 species working together. Good. Sam nodded. Then perhaps you're ready for what's coming. What's coming? Dr. Vexay asked, his voice trembling. Sam walked to one of the screens on the chamber wall. With a gesture, star maps appeared, showing the galaxy from angles Alex had never seen before. Red markers dotted the display, moving slowly but steadily inward from the galaxy's edge. In 50 years, give or take a decade, something will arrive. That makes all your wars and conflicts seem like children's games, something that will try to unmake everything you know and love. The red markers on the screen moved closer to inhabited systems with each passing moment of the display.
Nice. What are
they? Lisa asked. Devourers, Sam said simply. They come from spaces beyond reality itself. They consume dimensions, turning everything they touch into nothingness. We've been preparing to fight them for 1,000 years. Alex stared at the screen, trying to process what he was seeing, and humanity can stop them. Sam turned back to face them, and now Alex could see that his skin had a faint metallic sheen, as if machinery flowed in his veins alongside blood. Humanity as you knew us could not have stopped them, Sam said, but we are no longer the species that left this galaxy. We have become something new, something stronger, something that can stand against the dark and not break. He walked toward the chamber's exit, leaving them little choice but to follow.
Where are you going? Alex called.
To send a message, Sam replied. It's time to let our people know that the galaxy remembers us. It's time for you to decide whether you want our help when the darkness comes. As they emerged from the structure into the pale sunlight of New Terra, Alex realized that everything had just changed. They had evolved into something beyond imagination, and they were offering to save a galaxy that had forgotten them. The question was whether the galaxy would accept their help or fear what humanity had become. 3 weeks after finding Sam Wright, the galaxy began to change in ways no one expected. Reports flooded into the Galactic Council headquarters from across former human space. Archaeological teams were discovering active facilities on worlds that had been dead for 1,000 years. Each site contained humans in suspended animation, and all of them were waking up. Captain Alex Morrison stood in the briefing room of the council station, watching the flood of incoming data with growing unease. The holographic display showed Dozens of red dots scattered across the star map, each one marking a newly discovered human facility. 27 sites confirmed active, reported Commander Zefker, mantis-like form clicking nervously as he moved, all containing human survivors. The pattern is clear. They were placed strategically across their former territory. Dr. Lisa Kane studied the readings from her tablet. The humans at each site are different from Sam Wright, enhanced in various ways, but all showing similar technological integration. Behind only a message: tell the Council that humanity returns not as conquerors, but as guardians. We will be in touch. Have we established contact with any of the other awakened humans? Alex asked. Yes, Zefker replied, his compound eyes reflecting the holographic display. And that's what concerns us most. The display shifted to show recorded communications from the various human sites. Alex watched as figures that looked human but moved with unnatural grace addressed alien contact teams. Calm confidence Sam Wright had shown, and each delivered variations of the same message. We have returned to protect the galaxy from what is coming. In one recording, a woman with silver hair and glowing blue eyes spoke to a team of cetacean researchers. Maya Rodriguez. I helped design the genetic modifications that allowed our species to survive the journey between galaxies. We are here to help you prepare for the invasion. Another recording showed a man whose skin seemed to shift between flesh and metal as he moved. Jake Collins, former human military. I've been enhanced to fight enemies that exist partially outside normal space. Alex paused the display on an image of a thin, scholarly-looking man with eyes that held depths of knowledge no human should possess. Dr. Ben Taylor, philosopher and ethicist of the new humanity. They're all different, specialized for different purposes, like they were designed for specific roles. Designed by whom? Zefker asked, his voice sharp with suspicion. Before anyone could answer, the room's communication system activated. Sam Wright's face appeared on the main screen, speaking from what looked like the bridge of an advanced spacecraft. Greetings, Galactic Council, Sam said with that same unsettling smile. I'm requesting permission to address the full Council Assembly. Zefker stepped forward. Where are you, Sam Wright? What is that ship? The technology was unlike anything Alex had ever seen. Surfaces that seemed to flow like liquid metal, controls that responded to thought rather than touch. It's one of the ships we built during our time in the void, Sam continued. We have many such vessels hidden in the spaces between stars, waiting for our return. Alex felt his heart skip. Hidden fleets of advanced human ships? The implications were staggering. How many ships? Zefker demanded. Enough, Sam replied simply. Commander Zefker, I understand your concerns. You fear we've returned as conquerors. But observe our actions. We've made no aggressive moves. We've claimed no territory. We've simply awakened and begun preparing for the defense of worlds that are no longer ours. The screen shifted to show external views of New Terra, where once there had been only frozen wasteland. Structures were rising from the ground, not built, but grown, as if the planet itself was reshaping to accommodate them. Impossible, Lisa breathed. They're terraforming an entire world in weeks. It's not terraforming, Sam corrected, somehow hearing her comment. Awakening. New Terra was never truly dead. We simply put it to sleep until we returned. The same is true for 17 other worlds in former human space. The revelation hit Alex like a physical blow. If humans could hide entire worlds, make them appear dead for 1,000 years, what else were they capable of? I'm coming to the council station, Sam announced, alone and unarmed, to speak before the full assembly. The full truth about what's coming. The transmission ended, leaving the briefing room in stunned silence. 2 days later, Sam Wright stood before the full Galactic Council Assembly. Representatives from 12 species filled the circular chamber, their various forms creating a rainbow of alien biology. Alex sat in the observer section, watching as Sam faced the combined leadership of galactic civilization. Sam had changed since their first meeting. His eyes had deepened from green to an almost luminous emerald that seemed to hold starlight within them. Honored representatives, Sam began, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber without amplification. I stand before you not as a refugee seeking aid. Minister Veltar of the Aquatic Coalition spoke first. Why should we trust you? Sam nodded, as if he had expected the question. Because Prime Minister Conquest was never our goal. When humanity left this galaxy, we did so to become something capable of protecting it. Let me show you what we discovered in the void. The chamber's holographic projectors activated, showing a view of space unlike anything any of them had seen. Instead of stars, vast geometries of impossible complexity twisted through dimensions that hurt to perceive directly. Beyond the galaxies, edge lies the deep dark, Sam explained. A realm where the laws of physics bend and break, and in that realm we found evidence of the Devourers. The image shifted to show massive entities that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. They moved through space like living holes in reality, consuming everything they touched. They are expressions of entropy itself, seeking to return all of existence to the void from which it came. Worlds raised a sharp appendage. You expect us to believe that humanity can fight these things? Not the humanity you once knew, Sam replied. But we are no longer that species. We integrated with technologies we found in the deep dark, technologies left behind by species that fought the Devourers and failed. The hologram changed again, showing humans in various stages of transformation. Some had metal integrated into their flesh. All of them moved with purpose and power that transcended normal biology. We became cyborgs, Sam explained. Not by choice alone, but by necessity. The Devourers can only be fought by beings who exist partially outside normal reality. We had to become like them to have any hope of stopping them. Chancellor, Mordeth of the Hive Collective leaned forward. And you're certain they're coming here? Yes. Our deep space monitoring stations have detected the first signs of dimensional distortion at the galaxy's edge. They will arrive in approximately 50 years. We'll cease to exist unless we stand together to stop them. The chamber erupted in discussion as representatives debated amongst themselves in dozens of languages. Alex watched Sam standing calmly at the center of the storm, unaffected by the chaos around him. Finally, Supreme Arbiter Quintos called for order. Sam, right? You ask us to trust a species that has demonstrated the ability to deceive us completely. You hid your survival for 1,000 years. You concealed entire worlds. How do we know this threat is real and not a method of control? Sam's expression grew sad. Go, Supreme Arbiter. I'm going to show you something that will remove all doubt. He gestured, and the chamber's systems responded to his will in ways that should have been impossible. Showing a real-time view of the galaxy's edge, there, barely visible. Against the cosmic background, reality itself was beginning to fray. Tears in space-time leaked darkness that swallowed starlight. Inhabited systems. The war for existence has already begun. The chamber fell silent as the full horror of the situation became clear. Alex felt the weight of cosmic terror settling on his shoulders. The Galactic Council's emergency session had been running for 12 hours when the first attack came. Alex Morrison watched from the observation deck as representatives from 12 species argued over humanity's offer of alliance. To accept Sam Wright's help immediately, the other half feared that humanity posed a greater threat than the mysterious Devourers. We should destroy them now while we still can, growled General Faxmer of the warrior clans, his scaled hide. Rippling with aggression, they have the power to deceive us completely. How do we know this Devourer threat is even real? Before anyone could respond, every alarm in the station began screaming. Emergency lights bathed the chamber in red as automated systems announced. A code black emergency. Through the viewport, Alex saw something that made his blood freeze. Space itself was tearing open just beyond the station's shields. A jagged wound in reality leaked absolute darkness, and through that wound came something that his mind struggled to process. It was vast and terrible, existing in dimensions that twisted his vision and made his thoughts feel slippery. A Devourer. Scout, Sam Wright's voice came over the communication system. His ship had appeared from nowhere, positioning itself between the station and the emerging horror. Everyone stay calm. Do not look directly at it for more than a few seconds, or you'll suffer dimensional displacement syndrome. The thing that emerged from the tier was like a living shadow made of hungry void. Where it touched normal space, Stars simply stopped existing. It moved toward the station with terrible purpose, and Alex realized that their shields would be useless against something that could delete matter from existence. "This is impossible," whispered Dr. Lisa Kane, who stood beside Alex at the viewport. "The advanced scouts weren't supposed to arrive for months." "The timeline has accelerated," Sam's voice replied, somehow hearing her despite the distance. "They've learned to move faster between dimensions. This changes everything." The Devourer scouts stretched tendrils of nothingness toward the station. Where they touched the outer hull, metal and composite materials simply ceased to be. Hull breaches opened. Without explosions or debris, because the matter didn't become damaged, it stopped existing entirely. "All ships retreat to minimum safe distance," ordered Commander Zefker from the station's bridge. But before any vessel could move, Sam Wright's ship did something extraordinary. The human vessel seemed to unfold like a flower made of liquid metal. Surfaces that had appeared solid revealed themselves as complex geometric patterns that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Energy weapons emerged that fired beams of crystallized space-time, and defensive barriers activated that were made a folded reality itself. "By the 7 moons," breathed Chancellor Mordeth. "What has humanity become?" The battle lasted only minutes, but Alex knew he would remember every second for the rest of his life. Sam's ship fought the Devourer scout using weapons and defenses that operated according to physics he didn't understand. Beams of concentrated existence struck at the creature's form while reality anchors prevented it from shifting fully into other dimensions. The scout fought back with tendrils that reached across possible distances and attacks that bypassed normal space entirely. But Sam's ship adapted to each assault, its form flowing and changing to counter every strike. Finally, a weapon that looked like crystallized starlight struck the creature's core, and it dissolved back into the dimensional tier with what might have been a scream in frequencies no normal ear could hear. The tier sealed itself, leaving only empty space where the battle had raged. Sam's ship folded back into its original configuration and returned to its position near the station in the council chamber. Absolute silence reigned for long moments before Supreme Arbiter Quinto spoke. "The threat is real." "That was just a scout." Sam's voice filled the chamber as his image appeared on the main screen. He looked tired in a way that went beyond physical exhaustion. "The main force will send thousands of such creatures, backed by entities so large they can swallow entire star systems." Prime Minister Veltar of the Aquatic Coalition was the first to find his voice. "How do you fight such things? What weapons could possibly work against creatures that exist outside normal reality?" "The weapons we just used," Sam replied. "Technology we developed by studying artifacts left behind by the last species to face the Devourers. We call them the Architects, a civilization that spanned multiple galaxies before the Devourers found them." The chamber's holographic display activated, showing images that hurt to look at directly. Vast structures that existed in folded space. Cities built from crystallized time, and beings that had evolved beyond the need for physical form. "The Architects fought the Devourers for 10,000 years, Sam continued. They created weapons that could wound entities made of pure entropy, defenses that could protect reality itself from dissolution. In the end they lost, but they hid their knowledge in places the Devourers couldn't reach." "Humanity found this knowledge?" asked Senator Krex. "We were guided to it," Sam said. "When we first left the galaxy, we thought we were just exploring. But something called to us from the deep dark. Ancient beacons left by the Architects, leading us to their hidden vaults of knowledge." Alex leaned forward, fascinated despite his fear. "What did you find?" Sam's expression grew distant, as if remembering something too vast for words. "We found the truth about existence itself. Reality is not as solid as it appears. It's more like a song with countless harmonies and frequencies. The Devourers are discord made manifest, seeking to reduce that song to silence. And the Architects. Technology taught you to fight them?" Dr. Lisa Kane asked. "It taught us to become like them," Sam corrected. "To exist partially outside normal reality, so we could touch the same forces the Devourers use. We integrated their technology into our bodies, our minds, our very souls. We became something new. The display showed images of the human transformation. Bodies that phased in and out of multiple dimensions, minds that could process information across parallel realities, and souls that had learned to exist independently of physical form. Some of our people volunteered to become even more changed, Sam continued. Maya Rodriguez allowed herself to be transformed into a living genetic laboratory, capable of adapting any species for interdimensional warfare. Jake Collins became a warrior who exists primarily in the spaces between dimensions, able to fight enemies that normal beings cannot even perceive. And you, Supreme Arbiter, Quintos asked. Sam smiled, and for a moment his form flickered, revealing glimpses of something vast and complex that extended far beyond his apparent physical body. I became a bridge, part human, part architect technology, part something else entirely. I can communicate with beings that exist across multiple dimensional frequencies and coordinate defenses on a galactic scale. The revelation left the chamber. In stunned silence, humanity hadn't just evolved, they had transcended their original nature entirely. The question now, Sam said, is whether the rest of the galaxy is willing to undergo similar changes. Not to the extent we have, but enough to fight effectively against the Devourers. What kind of changes? General Thaxmer asked, his earlier hostility replaced by cautious interest. Genetic modifications to allow your brains to process multidimensional information. Cybernetic implants that can interface with architect technology. Training to fight enemies that don't fully exist in normal space. Sam paused. And most importantly, learning to work together as a truly unified force. Chancellor Mordith of the Hive Collective spoke up. Our species has always maintained individual identity within collective action. Would we lose ourselves in this process? Sam assured her. The goal is enhancement, not replacement. You would become more yourselves, not less. Stronger, more capable, but still fundamentally who you are. A new voice entered the discussion as Ryan Clark materialized in the chamber. He appeared to simply step out of empty air, his form solidifying from what had been vacant space. Unlike Sam, his modifications were more obvious, skin that showed circuit patterns, eyes that held depths of data streams, and a presence that suggested vast computational power. I'm Ryan Clark, humanity's diplomatic coordinator, he said calmly, ignoring the startled reactions his appearance had caused. I've been monitoring this discussion, and I believe it's time for a demonstration. Without waiting for permission, Ryan gestured toward the chamber's holographic projector. The display changed to show real-time views from across the galaxy. Dozens of systems showed signs of dimensional disturbance. Tiers in space-time that were allowing Devourer scouts to slip through. The invasion has begun, Ryan announced. Not in 50 years or 18 months. Now, scout forces are probing defenses across a 1,000-light-year front. They're testing our response times, mapping our capabilities, and preparing the way for the main assault. The images showed alien worlds under attack by creatures of living void. Defense fleets that were brave enough to engage found their weapons passing harmlessly through enemies that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. However, Ryan continued, observe these systems. The display shifted to show other battle sites where the outcomes were dramatically different. The galaxy split apart in the days following the Devourer attack. Half the Council species voted to accept humanity's enhancement program immediately. The other half declared humans a greater threat than the creatures from beyond reality itself. Within a week, first shots of a civil war were fired across a dozen star systems. Captain Alex Morrison found himself caught in the middle when Admiral Corvex of the Stellar Navy arrived at his research station with a battle fleet. The Admiral's crystalline form sparked with angry energy as he addressed Alex through the communication screen. Humans, a hostile species, and authorized their removal by any means necessary. Alien researchers understand architect technology. Their presence had accelerated research progress by centuries. Admiral, these humans are here voluntarily as researchers and advisors, Alex replied. They haven't threatened anyone or claimed any territory. They don't need to claim territory. Admiral Corvex snapped. It can make entire worlds disappear for 1,000 years. They can walk through walls and control our technology with their thoughts. They are weapons disguised as allies. Before Alex could respond, one of the humans stepped forward. Starlight. She had been introduced as a military strategist and peace negotiation specialist. Admiral Corvex, she said calmly, we understand your fears, but we are not your enemies. The real enemy is already here. As if summoned by her words, space around the station began to tear. Multiple dimensional rifts opened simultaneously, disgorging Devourer scouts that immediately began their work of unmaking reality. The Admiral's fleet opened fire, but their weapons passed harmlessly through enemies that existed in multiple dimensions. All ships retreat, Admiral Corvex ordered as his vessel's hulls began dissolving under Devourer attacks. Prepare to abandon the station. No, Kate Phillips said firmly. She touched a panel on the station's control console, and the entire structure began to change. Walls flowed like liquid metal, reconfiguring themselves into patterns that hurt to look at directly. Weapon ports opened that fired beams of crystallized space-time.
Ow.
While reality anchors deployed to trap the Devourers in normal space. The stations. New weapons struck the scout creatures with devastating effect. Where normal energy beams would pass through them harmlessly, these weapons could actually wound beings made of living void. One by one, the Devourer scouts were destroyed or driven back into their dimensional tiers. How did Civilian Research Station acquire such weapons? Sam Wright's voice answered from the communication system. Because every human facility was designed to be a fortress if needed. We've been preparing for this war for 1,000 years, Admiral. We don't do anything halfway. The Admiral's fleet hung in space, their crews stunned by what they had witnessed. A civilian station had just defeated enemies that had easily overwhelmed military vessels. This changes nothing, Admiral Corvex said finally. You've just proven how dangerous you are. Cannot allow such power to exist unchecked. Then you'll die along with everyone else, Kate Phillips replied sadly, because those weren't random scouts. They were a directed probe sent to test the defenses of anyone who might oppose the main invasion force. By attacking us instead of working with us, you've just told the Devourers that this galaxy is divided and weak. Alex watched the tactical display as more dimensional tiers opened across nearby systems. The Devourer response was swift and coordinated. Dozens of scout forces emerged simultaneously, striking at both human and alien installations. But the pattern of attacks told a story. Human facilities fought back with weapons that could actually hurt the invaders. Alien installations, no matter how well defended by conventional means, were being systematically destroyed. Look at the tactical data, Alex said to Admiral Corvex. Every alien installation hit so far has been wiped out completely. Every human facility has successfully repelled attack. We need their technology, the Admiral corrected grimly. But we cannot trust them to control it. That's when Jake Collins appeared. He didn't arrive by ship or transport pad. He simply materialized in the station's command center, stepping out of what looked like a fold in space itself. His form was more obviously modified than the other humans, skin that shifted between flesh and living metal, eyes that held depths of parallel dimensions. I'm Jake Collins, enhanced for combat in multidimensional space. I've come to offer you a choice. The Admiral's crystalline form flared with hostile energy. I don't negotiate with weapons. I'm not here to negotiate, Jake replied calmly. I'm here to demonstrate something important, without warning Jake's form began to change. He expanded beyond the normal 3 dimensions, his presence extending into spaces that existed between normal reality. Admiral Corvex's fleet found their weapon systems responding to Jake's will, turning to target empty space. I could take control of your entire fleet right now, Jake said. I could turn your weapons against each other, or simply shut down your life support systems. I exist partially outside normal space-time, which means your defenses are meaningless against me. The Admiral's crew worked frantically at their controls, but their systems remained under Jake's control. But I won't do any of those things, Jake continued. Because we didn't become what we are to conquer you, we became this to protect you. Lasted less than a minute, but its implications were staggering. Every human in this galaxy could do what I just did, Jake said quietly. We could take control of every ship, every station, every world without firing a shot. Admiral Corvex was silent for long moments before speaking. What do you want from us? Help us save your species, Kate Phillips answered. The enhancement process we offer isn't about making you like us. It's about giving you the minimum modifications needed to fight enemies that exist outside normal reality. And if we refuse, Sam. Wright's image appeared on the main screen, broadcasting from somewhere in deep space. Behind him, vast shapes moved in the darkness between stars, human vessels emerging from hiding places they had maintained for centuries. Then we'll protect you anyway, Sam said simply. We'll fight this war alone if we have to, and you'll all die. And in the end, the Devourers will win because we couldn't work together. The tactical display updated to show the true scope of the emerging crisis. Devourer scouts were now operating in over 200 systems. The aliens were losing every engagement while human forces successfully defended their positions. Pattern is clear, Dr. Lisa Kane said, studying the data. Conventional weapons and defenses are useless against interdimensional enemies. We either adapt or we die. That's when the real test began. A massive dimensional tier opened at the edge of the star system, far larger than any they had seen before. Through it came something that made the scouts look like insects by comparison, a true devourer, vast and terrible, existing in dimensions that threatened to drive viewers insane. A full devourer. Sam's voice carried a note of grim satisfaction. They're testing us with their mainline units now. The creature was kilometers long and existed in at least 7 dimensions simultaneously. Planets simply ceased to exist as the creature's presence reduced them to their component quantum particles, Admiral. Corvex's fleet opened fire with everything they had. Plasma cannons, fusion torpedoes, antimatter missiles, all passed harmlessly through a creature that existed primarily outside normal space. Emergency jump to minimum safe distance. But before any ship could engage their faster-than-light drive, Sam Wright's vessel emerged from behind a nearby moon. It had grown since Alex first saw it, or perhaps revealed its true size. Its surface covered with geometric patterns that existed in multiple dimensions. This is why we became what we are. Sam's voice carried across all frequencies. Not to conquer, but to stand against things like this. The battle that followed redefined Alex's understanding of what was possible. Defensive barriers of folded reality protected both the human ship and Admiral Corvex's retreating fleet. The true Devourer fought back with attacks that bypassed normal space entirely, striking directly at the quantum foundations of matter. But Sam's ship adapted to each assault, its form flowing and changing to counter every technique the creature employed. 4 months later, Captain Alex Morrison stood on the bridge of the enhanced vessel Unity, watching the galaxy prepare for war. The ship around him was a perfect blend of human and alien technology. Alien engineering combined with architect modifications created something neither species could have built alone. His crew was equally mixed. Dr. Lisa Kane worked alongside enhanced humans and modified aliens, all of them connected through neural links that allowed them to coordinate at the speed of thought. The enhancement process had changed them all, but not in the ways they had feared. They were still themselves, just more capable. Contact from the command ship reported Lieutenant Morris, a cetacean whose modifications allowed him to process multi-dimensional data streams. Admiral Morrison wants all vessel commanders to join the final briefing. Alex smiled at the title. 3 months ago, the combined fleet had elected him as their overall commander. Human and alien crews trusted him because he had worked with both species for decades. More importantly, he understood both their strengths and their fears. The holographic conference brought together commanders from across the galaxy. Sam Wright appeared as a figure of living light, his transformation now so complete that he existed primarily as information patterns held together by will. Maya Rodriguez showed her modifications more clearly. Her body had become a living laboratory, able to analyze and adapt genetic patterns in real time. Final status report, Alex requested. 2 million enhanced personnel across all species, reported Jake Collins, his form flickering between dimensions as he coordinated with scouts positioned throughout known space. 15,000 vessels equipped with architect technology, reality anchor networks deployed around all inhabited systems. The enemy? Alex asked. Sam Wright's expression grew grim. The main invasion force has reached the galaxy's edge. What we're seeing defies comprehension. Entities the size of solar systems, creatures that exist in dimensions we can barely perceive. And behind them all, something that might be the Devourer leadership itself, the holographic display showed. Long-range censored data from the galaxy's rim. Space itself was breaking down as the invasion force approached. Stars were being consumed not just for their matter and energy, but for their very existence. Entire systems were vanishing from reality so completely that even the light thing had emitted throughout history was being erased. How long until they reach inhabited space? Asked Commander Vexhai of the Archaeological Corps. 6 hours, Ryan Clark replied, materializing in the conference as a pattern of flowing data. Are you not bothering with stealth anymore? This is an extinction attack designed to wipe out all complex life in the galaxy. Alex studied the tactical displays. The enemy force was impossibly vast, millions of devourers, backed by creatures so large they warped space-time around themselves. Against them stood the combined fleet of barely 15,000 enhanced vessels. The mathematics don't look good, Admiral Corvex admitted. He had undergone basic enhancement and now sported crystalline implants that let him interface with architect technology. Even with our improvements, we're outnumbered by thousands to one. Numbers aren't everything in multi-dimensional warfare, Kate Phillips said calmly. She appeared as a figure wrapped in tactical data streams, her enhanced mind processing battle scenarios faster than quantum computers. The Devourers are used to fighting species that exist only in normal space. They've never faced opponents who can match their dimensional manipulation abilities. The plan remains the same, Sam Wright announced. We make our stand at the nexus point, where the galaxy's dimensional boundaries are strongest. The reality anchors will limit their ability to phase between dimensions while our weapons can hurt them in normal space. Alex nodded. The nexus point was a region of space where natural phenomena had created stable dimensional barriers. It was the one place in the galaxy where the Devourers would be forced to fight primarily in normal spacetime. All vessels begin final approach to battle. Positions, Alex ordered. This is humanity's return to the galaxy, and we're not going quietly. The next few hours passed in tense preparation. Enhanced crews ran final checks on weapons that fired crystallized reality and shields made of folded space. Shared tactical knowledge with alien warriors while modified scientists. Calibrated sensors that could track enemies existing in multiple dimensions. Alex found himself thinking about the journey that had brought them here. 1,000 years ago, humanity had left the galaxy to avoid a war. Now they were returning to fight the greatest war in galactic history, not for conquest, but for the right of all life to continue existing. Dimensional tiers detected at maximum. Sensor range, Lieutenant Morris reported. The invasion force is beginning their final approach. The main screen showed something that challenged the mind to comprehend. Reality itself was unraveling as the Devourer fleet emerged from the spaces between dimensions. Creatures of living void, entities that existed as pure entropy. And behind them all, something so vast it seemed to be made of collapsed galaxies. All ships. This is Admiral Morrison. Alex broadcast across the fleet. In a few minutes, we're going to face enemies that want to erase not just us, but any memory that we ever existed. But we're not the same species that ran from fights 1,000 years ago, human and alien, enhanced and pure. We stand together. Today we prove that life is stronger than entropy. The first wave of Devourers reached the nexus point, and the battle for existence began. Alex watched in amazement as the combined fleet moved with perfect coordination. Enhanced minds linked through quantum communication allowed thousands of ships to function as a single organism. When Devourers tried to phase into alternate dimensions, reality anchors trapped them in normal space where conventional weapons could hurt them. Jake Collins led the dimensional fighters, enhanced humans, who could follow Devourers into the spaces between realities and fight them on their own terms. His form split across multiple dimensions as he engaged creatures that existed as living mathematics. Their battle taking place in realms where concepts like distance and time had no meaning. Maya Rodriguez, coordinated the Biological Warfare Division, using her transformed body to create targeted viruses that could infect information-based life forms. Her attacks struck at the Devourer's fundamental programming, introducing chaos into entities that were themselves expressions of cosmic entropy. Primary Reality Anchor Network is holding, reported Dr. Lisa Kane from her position, coordinating the defensive systems. Enemy interdimensional mobility reduced by 70%. But the Devourers adapted quickly. Larger entities emerged from the dimensional tiers, creatures so vast they could swallow entire fleets. Their presence began destabilizing the reality. Anchors, creating weak points where smaller Devourers could slip through. We're losing dimensional coherence, Kate Phillips warned. The big ones are too massive for our anchor network to contain. That's when Sam Wright revealed humanity's final secret. Its form began to expand, growing beyond the physical limitations of normal space. He became something vast and complex, existing across multiple dimensional frequencies simultaneously. I am become space and time. Sam's voice echoed across all dimensions. What we learned in the void wasn't just technology. We learned to become like the universe itself. Other enhanced humans followed Sam's transformation. Maya Rodriguez became a living pattern of genetic information that could exist independently of matter. Jake Collins spread across the dimensional barriers, becoming part of the structure of reality itself. They had become something beyond individual existence, collective consciousness that could match the Devourer's cosmic scale. The battle shifted from ship-to-ship combat to a conflict. Between fundamental forces of creation and entropy, Alex watched from the Unity as enhanced humans fought beings made of pure dissolution. Where Devourers tried to unmake reality, the transformed humans reinforced it. Where the creatures of void sought to reduce complexity to nothing, humanities evolved. Children created new forms of existence that the Devourers couldn't process. The climax came when the largest Devourer entity emerged from the dimensional storm. It was something beyond description. A concentration of entropy so pure it seemed like a hole in the fabric of existence itself. Its presence began unmaking, not just matter and energy, but the laws of physics themselves. Sam Wright, now existing as a pattern of living spacetime, moved to engage the entity directly. The battle between them took place on scales that transcended normal understanding. They fought with weapons made of crystallized time and shields, constructed from the fundamental forces that held reality together. For a moment that lasted eternities, the outcome hung in balance. Creation and entropy, order and chaos, locked in combat at the heart of existence itself. Then something unexpected happened. Other enhanced humans joined the battle, but not as individual fighters. They became part of Sam Wright's expanded consciousness, adding their strength to his. Alien crews linked through quantum networks added their will to the fight. Even unenhanced beings across the galaxy contributed, their collective determination to survive becoming a force that reality itself could channel.